There is a specific moment in your life that changes everything. It is not dramatic. There is nitrogen monoxide music. Nitrogen monoxide lightning bolt. Just a quiet realization that hits you in the chest. You look around. You check your phone. You think about the people you call friends, your family, your circle, and you realize something that terrifies you. No one is coming. No one is going to invest in your vision. Nitrogen monoxide 1 is going to push you when you are tired. Nitrogen monoxide 1 is going to catch you if you fall. You are on your own. For most people, this moment breaks them. They feel abandoned, betrayed. They ask the universe, why me? Why do I have to do this alone? But for a small percentage of people, this moment is not the end. It is the beginning, not of loneliness, but of sovereignty. You are watching this because you are in that moment right now. Oh, are you, or recently you feel the weight of an ambition that nobody around you understands? You are tired of explaining yourself to people who do not want to understand. You are tired of waiting for permission that will never come. Today, I am going to show you something that will change your entire approach. How to build when support is limited. Not because isolation is the goal, but because self-reliance is the foundation of everything else. Carl Jung said something that most people misunderstand. He said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Not who your family wants you to be. Not who your friends expect. Who you are." And that discovery, it happens alone. Let me destroy a myth right now. A myth that is keeping you stuck. You have been told your entire life that success requires a team, that you need connections, that you need support. IT is not what you know. IT is who you know. You have heard this 1,000 times, and IT is half true, which makes IT fully dangerous. Yes, collaboration matters. Eventually, yes, relationships create opportunities. Later. But right now, chasing support is the worst thing you can do. Why? Because when you seek support from a position of weakness, you are not building alliances. You are creating debt. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. He wrote, "A wise prince should rely on what is in his own control, not on what is in the control of others." When you need someone's approval to start, they own your start. When you need someone's money to build, they own your build. When you need someone's validation to keep going, they own your persistence. This is not freedom. This is a different kind of prison. The people who tell you that you need support are often the same people who will never give IT to you. They are not being cruel. They are being realistic. They do not see what you see. They cannot. They are living in a different reality. And here is the brutal truth. Even if they wanted to help you, most people are barely keeping their own lives together. They do not have extra energy to invest in your dream. They are fighting their own battles, losing their own wars. So when you wait for support, you are waiting for something that cannot come. You are bleeding time, burning years, getting older while your vision stays theoretical. Let me introduce you to a concept. The 0 point. The 0 points is when you accept your current reality completely. No more hoping. Nitrogen monoxide more waiting. Nitrogen monoxide more expecting someone to save you. Look at your bank account. You look at your contacts. You look at your resources. And you see exactly what is there, which is often nothing. Most people panic here. They feel the emptiness and they run. They distract themselves. They numb themselves to convincing themselves that tomorrow will be different. You will not do that. You will sit in the 0 point. You will feel it fully. The loneliness, the fear, the weight of responsibility. And then you will understand something that changes everything. If you have 0 support, you have 0 masters. If nitrogen monoxide 1 helped you up, no one can pull you down. If you built IT alone, you own IT completely. This is not motivational speaking. This is cold mathematics. Freedom always looks like isolation at first. Because freedom means you stopped asking for permission. Nietzsche sighed. The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. The tribe wants you to stay, to conform, to be predictable. They do not do this out of malice. They do it out of fear. Your success would mean they have to question their own choices. Your freedom would highlight their chains. So they will not support you. Not because you are not worthy, because your success is too expensive for them. Tea costs them, they're comfortable. Story about why they settled. Here's where we make the first major shift. From seeking support to building value. Right now, you probably think the equation is get support, then build. Find investors, then start the company. Find teammates, then launch the project. Find an audience, then create the content. Wrong. Completely backwards. The real equation is build undeniably value. Then support appears. Develop rare skills. Then opportunities find you. Create proof. Then people believe. Robert Greene teaches this in the 48 Laws of Power. Law for always say less than necessary. But there is a deeper version of this law. Always show more than you speak. Do not tell people what you are going to do. Show them what you have done. Do not explain your vision. Demonstrate your execution. Do not ask for belief. Present evidence. When you are starting from zero, you have nothing to offer except potential. And potential is worth nothing in the marketplace. The market does not pay for promises. IT pays for results. So your entire job in the first phase is to create results. Small results. Real results. Documented results. Not because you are trying to impress people. Because you are trying to prove to yourself that you can actually do this. That you are not all talk. That your ambition is matched by your capability. Let me give you the framework for phase 1. The foundation phase. This is months 1 through 6. This is where most people quit. Because this is where you work in complete darkness. Nitrogen monoxide. Applause. Nitrogen monoxide. Recognition. Nitrogen. Monoxide validation. Just you and the work. Carl Jung called this the process of individuation. Becoming your full self. Not the self your parents programmed. Not the self your culture demands. Your actual self. He said, there is nitrogen monoxide coming to consciousness without pain. This phase will hurt. Not because you are doing something wrong. Because you are doing something real. Here is the tactical approach. 1. Pick one skill. Not 5 skills. 1. The skill that will give you the most leverage in your chosen field. If you want to build a business, learn to sell. If you want to be a creator, learn to write or speak. If you want to be a consultant, learn one specialized process inside and out. Go deep, not wide. Depth creates value. Width creates distraction. Marcus Aurelius W. wrote, do every act of your life as though it were the very last act of your life. Treat your skill development like that. Every hour of practice is either building your future or wasting your present. There is nitrogen monoxide middle ground. To document everything. Not for an audience. For yourself. Keep a daily log. What you learned today. What you tried. What worked. What failed. What you will do differently tomorrow. This log becomes your external brain. When you feel lost, when you feel like you are making nitrogen monoxide progress, you can look back and see the evidence. You can track the pattern. You can see that you are actually moving even when it feels like you are standing still. 3. Build in public. selectively. Share your process, not your dreams. Show your work, not your goals. The mistake people make is they announce big plans. I'm going to build $1 million business. Oh, or I am going to write a book. Oh, or I am going to get in the best shape of my life. Stop. No one cares about your plans. Plans are free. Execution is expensive. Instead, share small wins. Here's what I learned today. Here is a problem I solved. Here is a before and after. This does two things. IT creates accountability. Because once you say IT publicly, you have to keep doing it. And it creates a trail. A record that you are serious. That you are not just another person with big talk and nitrogen monoxide action. Now, we need to talk about what is happening in your head. Because this is where most people lose the battle. You are going to feel guilty. You are going to feel selfish. You are going to hear voices. Who do you think you are? You are abandoning your family. You are being irresponsible. These voices are not coming from your true self. They are coming from your conditioning. From every authority figure who needed you to stay small so they could feel big. Freud called this the superego. The internalized voice of external authority. The part of you that punishes you for wanting things, for having ambition, for stepping outside the script. You must learn to recognize this voice, and you must learn to disobey. IT not out of rebellion, out of responsibility. Responsibility to your actual potential, your actual purpose. Arthur Schopenhauer sighed. A man can do what he wants, but not want what he wants. You cannot control the guilt, but you can control whether you obey IT, feel the guilt, acknowledge IT, thank it for trying to protect you, then do what you need to do anyway. We have established the foundation. You understand why support will not come from outside. You understand why that is actually a gift. You understand the 0 point in the first phase of building. In the next 5 minutes, we are going deeper. We are going to talk about the 3 phases of strategic solitude, how to know when to work alone and when to collaborate, how to build from isolation into integration, and most importantly, the psychological work you must do so that you do not become bitter, so that you do not become the person who hates everyone. Sulfur monoxide, that you become sovereign, without becoming isolated. This is where IT gets practical. This is where theory becomes action. Stay with me. Let me give you the map. Because wandering in the dark without direction is not courage. It is just being lost. There are 3 distinct phases. When you are building with limited support, each phase has different rules, different strategies, different dangers. Most people fail because they try to use phase 1 tactics in phase 3, or they skip phase 1 entirely and wonder why nothing works. Listen carefully. This framework will save you years. This is where you are right now, or where you need to be if you have been spinning your wheels trying to network your way to success. Phase 1 has one job. Build undeniable skill in one specific area. Not good skill. Undeniable skill. Machiavelli wrote, before all else, be armed. He was talking about literal armies. We were talking about competence. Competence is your only weapon. When you have nitrogen monoxide, other resources in T-space, you are invisible. You are not networking. You are not posting motivational quotes. You are not going to conferences. You're in the lab, learning, practicing, failing, adjusting, repeating. Carl Jung understood this deeply. He said, your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. Phase 1 is about looking inside, about waking up to what you are actually capable of when you stop performing for others. Rule 1. Nitrogen monoxide. Announcements. Do not tell anyone what you are building. Not because you are being secretive. Because token dissipates energy. Every time you explain your plan, you get a tiny hit of dopamine. Your brain thinks you already did the thing, so you stop working. Work in silence. Let your results be the announcement. Rule 2. Obsessive focus. You cannot afford to split your attention. You do not have the luxury of exploring 5 different paths. Pick one. Commit completely. Learn everything about IT. Epictetus taught, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. You want one thing: competence. Everything else is distraction. Rule 3. Track everything. Numbers do not lie. People lie. Your feelings lie. Numbers tell the truth. If you are trying to build a business, track revenue. If you are building your body, track weight and lifts. If you are building a skill, track hours of deliberate practice. What gets measured gets managed. What gets managed gets improved. You have been building for 6 months. You have something real now. Proof. Evidence. Results. Now the strategy shifts. Now you become visible. But strategically visible. Not desperately visible. Robert Greene teaches in the 48 Laws of Power, make your accomplishments seem effortless. This is phase 2. You show what you built, but you do not show how hard it was. You do not show the struggle. You show the result. WHY. Because people do not invest in potential anymore. You had 6 months to convert potential into a proof. Now you show the proof. Rule 1. Document your process. Now you can share, but you share the work, not the dream. Show what you did today. Show the before and after. Show the problem you solved. This is not bragging. This is evidence. And evidence attracts the right people. Rule 2. Create case studies. If you helped someone, document IT. If you built something, show IT. If you solved a problem, explain how. Case studies are the language of credibility. They say, this is not theory. This is what actually happened. Rule 3. Be selective about who you engage with. Not everyone who reaches out deserves your time. Phase 2 is where you start to build filters. Plato, Said, the price good men pay for indifference to public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. Pay attention. Engage. But choose carefully who gets access to your energy. Phase 3. Selective collaboration, month 12 and beyond. You have skills now. You have proof. You have options. This is when collaboration becomes possible, not from desperation, from sovereignty. Here is the shift most people miss. They think collaboration means weakness. IT does not. Collaboration from strength is leverage. Collaboration from weakness is dependency. Marcus Aurelius managed an empire. He did not do ID alone, but he chose his advisors carefully. He chose people who made him better, who challenged him, who had no agenda except excellence. You must do the same. Now that you have built yourself into something valuable, you can afford to be selective about who you build with. Rule 1. Complementary skills only. Do not partner with someone who does what you do. Partner with someone who does what you cannot do or do not want to do. If you are great at product, find someone great at sales. If you are great at strategy, find someone great at execution. Rule 2. Proven track records only. Do not gamble on potential anymore. You already paid that price in phase 1. Now you only work with people who have evidence, who have done the thing before. Nietzsche warned, beware that, when fighting monsters, you yourself do not become a monster. Choose collaborators who elevate you, not ones who drag you into their dysfunction. Rule 3. Keep your core competency. Never outsource the thing that makes you irreplaceable. You can delegate. You can collaborate. But you must remain the expert in the one thing that defines your value. If you give that away, you become replaceable. And replaceable people do not build empires. They work in them. The shadow work done correctly. Now we need to talk about something dangerous. Something the other videos get completely wrong. They tell you to use your anger, your spite, your resentment, to run on dark energy forever. This is poison, and it will destroy you. Yes, Carl Jung talked about the shadow, the repressed parts of yourself, the anger you were taught to hide, the selfishness you were taught to deny, the ambition you were taught to be ashamed of. But Jung's shadow work is not about staying in the darkness. IT is about integrating IT, bringing IT into consciousness, understanding its message, then moving forward with wisdom. Here is how you do this correctly. Step 1. Acknowledge what you feel. If you are angry that nitrogen monoxide once supported you, feel IT fully. Do not suppress IT. Do not pretend you are above IT. Sit with the anger. Let IT speak. Step 2. Ask what IT is trying to tell you. Anger is information. IT tells you where your boundaries were violated, where your trust was misplaced, where your expectations were unrealistic. Listen to the anger. IT has wisdom buried in IT. Step 3. Extract the lesson, then release the emotion. You do not keep running on anger. That is like keeping your hand on a hot stove because it gives you energy to move. You use the anger to learn. Then you let it go, and you move forward from clarity, not from reaction. Freud said, unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. Express the emotion in a journal, in therapy, in a gym, somewhere private where you can let it out fully. Then leave it there. Do not carry IT with you into phase 3. Because if you do, you will sabotage every good thing that comes your way. The transition from alone to together here is what nobody tells you. The hardest part is not building alone. IT is learning to build with others after you have been alone. You get used to total control, total freedom. Nitrogen monoxide 1-2. Consult no one to compromise with. It becomes comfortable. But if you want to scale, if you want to build something bigger than yourself, you have to learn to collaborate. And that means giving up some control. This terrifies people who build from zero, because control is what kept them alive. Control is what got them out of the 0 point. But here is the truth. Control at phase 1 is survival. Control at phase 3 is a ceiling. Arthur Schopenhauer said talent hits a target nitrogen monoxide one else can hit. Genius hits a target nitrogen monoxide one else can see. You hit your target alone. Now you need to see the bigger targets. And for those, you need help. The transition works like this. First, you identify your weaknesses honestly. What you are not good at. What you do not enjoy. What drains you. Second, you find people who are strong where you are weak, who love what you hate, who are energized by what drains you. Third, you test them. Small projects first. See if they deliver. See if their values align with yours. See if they make your life better or just different. If they pass the test, you increase the investment. Slowly. Carefully. always keeping your core competency close. Here's where we need to talk about boundaries, real boundaries, not the fake ones people talk about on social media. You built yourself in isolation. You know what IT costs. You know what IT takes. You cannot let just anyone into that space. Epictetus taught, if you wish to be a writer, write. But here is the next part. If you wish to maintain your writing, protect your energy. Every person you let in your life will either add energy or take IT. There is nitrogen monoxide neutral. You must become ruthless about this evaluation. Does this person make me better or just busier? Does this relationship give me energy or drain IT? Does this collaboration move me forward or sideways? If the answer is not clearly positive, the answer is no. You do not have energy to waste on mediocre relationships. Not because you are too good for people. Because your mission is too important. You now have the 3-phase framework. Foundation, visibility, collaboration. You understand that solitude is temporary and strategic, not permanent and bitter. In the next 5 minutes, we're going to talk about the specific tactics, the daily protocols, the mental frameworks, how to wake up every day with zero external motivation and still work like your life depends on it. Because it does. Stay focused. Let me talk to you about the thing that actually separates people who make IT from people who stay stuck. IT is not intelligence. IT is not connections. IT is not luck. IT is structure. When you have nitrogen monoxide external structure, nitrogen monoxide boss, nitrogen monoxide schedule, nitrogen monoxide accountability partner, you must create internal structure. Or you will dissolve into chaos. Most people think freedom means doing whatever you want whenever you want. That is not freedom. That is entropy. And entropy always leads to decay. Marcus Aurelius woke up every day as Emperor of Rome. He could have done anything. Anything. But he still followed a strict routine. He still wrote in his journal. He still practiced philosophy. Why? Because he understood that discipline is what protects freedom. Without discipline, freedom becomes slavery to your impulses. Here's the protocol for phase 1. When you are building alone, when nitrogen monoxide 1 is watching, when nitrogen monoxide 1 cares, if you succeed or fail, the moment your eyes open, you are in a negotiation. One part of your brain wants comfort, wants to hit snooze, wants to scroll, wants to ease into the day. Another part knows you have work to do. Real work. Uncomfortable work. This negotiation happens in seconds. And whoever wins this negotiation wins the day. If you lose to the comfort-seeking part of your brain, you have already signaled to yourself that you are not in control, that your feelings run your life, that comfort is more important than progress. You cannot afford to lose this negotiation. Not once. Because every time you lose, you make it easier to lose tomorrow. Epictetus said, nitrogen monoxide man is free who is not master of himself. The morning negotiation is where you prove mastery. You do not feel like getting up. You get up anyway. You do not feel like working. You work anyway. This is not toxic hustle culture. This is basic SELF. You cannot build anything if you cannot govern yourself. Here's what most people get wrong. They think productivity means working all day, 12 hours, 14 hours, grinding until they collapse. Wrong, that is not productive. That is performative suffering. Real productivity is deep work. 4 hours of complete focus. Nitrogen monoxide. Phone. Nitrogen monoxide. Distractions. No checking email. Nitrogen monoxide meetings. Chasseur. And the most important work. Cal Newport researched this extensively. Deep work is how valuable things get created. Shallow work is how time gets wasted. In 4 hours of deep work, you can produce more than most people produce in a week. Because you are not context switching. You are not interrupted every 5 minutes. You are not pretending to multitask. You are doing one thing with full attention. Attention is the only currency that matters. Robert Greene spent years writing each of his books. Not because he is slow, because he goes deep. He immerses himself completely. He reads hundreds of sources. He connects patterns. Nitrogen monoxide, one else sees. That depth is only possible with extended focus, with blocks of uninterrupted time. You need to protect these blocks like your life depends on them, because your future does depend on them. What you consume shapes what you produce. If you consume garbage, you produce garbage. This is not metaphorical. This is literal. Your brain is a processing machine. IT takes inputs and creates outputs. If you feed IT news, drama, social media outrage, and reality TV, what do you think it will output? Mediocrity, distraction, anxiety. Machiavelli did not study gossip. He studied history. He studied power. He studied what actually worked across centuries. You must do the same. Curate your information diet with the same care. You would curate your physical diet, books over articles, long form over short form, primary sources over summaries, philosophy over news. Your brain will resist this. It is addicted to the quick hits of social media, the dopamine rush of new information every 3 seconds. Let it withdraw. Sit through the discomfort. On the other side of that withdrawal is clarity, focus. Original, toda Nietzsche sai, and those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music. You are learning to hear different music. Music the crowd cannot hear. Music that comes from deep study, from careful thought, from silence. At the end of each day, you must audit yourself. You cannot afford to coast. You cannot afford to lie to yourself about whether you actually worked or just looked busy. Ask 3 questions. Question 1. Did I move the needle today? Did I make measurable progress on the thing that matters most? Or did I just shuffle papers and check boxes? Be honest. Brutal honesty is the only thing that works when you are alone. Question 2. What did I learn? What new piece of knowledge do I have now that I did not have this morning? What mistake did I make that taught me something? If you did not learn anything, you wasted the day. Learning compounds. Ignorance compounds. Choose carefully. Question 3. What will I do differently tomorrow based on what happened today? What adjustment will I make? What experiment will I run? This nightly audit is how you evolve, how you get better, how you avoid repeating the same day for 10 years and calling it experience the full source intrinsic motivation. Now we need to talk about what keeps you going when the days are hard and the results are slow. Other people run on external motivation, praise and recognition, and correhayman. They need someone to tell them they are doing a good job. You cannot afford that luxury. You have to develop intrinsic motivation, internal drive that does not depend on external validation. Carl Jung understood this. He called it the process of individuation, becoming self-erected, self-motivated, self-validating. He said, "The shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is nitrogen monoxide recipe for living that suits all cases. Your motivation cannot come from fitting into someone else's recipe. It has to come from your own sense of purpose, your own standards, your own definition of success. Here is how you build this. First, you connect your daily work to a larger meaning. You're not just writing code. You're building a tool that will solve a real problem. You are not just going to the gym. You are building the body that will carry you through the next 40 years. Meaning transforms work from obligation into mission. Second, you celebrate small wins privately. You do not post them. You do not seek validation. You just notice them. You acknowledge your own progress. This builds self. You learn that you can rely on yourself, that you follow through, that you are not all talk. Third, you embrace the difficulty. You stop waiting for it to get easy. You stop complaining that IT is hard. You accept that hard is the point. Easy things do not build character. Easy things do not create competence. Easy things do not separate you from the crowd. Hard is where you become who you need to become. The loneliness paradox. Let me address the thing you are probably feeling but not saying. You are lonely. Building alone is lonely. There is nitrogen monoxide way around this. And here's what most motivational content will not tell you. That loneliness is valid. IT is real. IT is painful. You are not weak for feeling it. You are human. But here's what you need to understand. Loneliness and being alone are not the same thing. Arthur Schopenhauer wrote, "A man can be himself only so long as he is alone, and if he does not love solitude, he will not love freedom." Being alone is a state. Loneliness is an emotion. You can be alone without being lonely if you fill that space with purpose. And you can be surrounded by people and still be lonely if those people do not see you, do not understand you, do not care about what you are building. I would rather be alone with purpose than surrounded by people who make me feel invisible. The antidote to loneliness is not other people. It is connection. And sometimes, the deepest connection you will ever have is with yourself, with your work, with your mission. The self-parenting process. When you have nitrogen monoxide, external support, you must become your own parent, your own coach, your own therapist. This sounds strange, but it is necessary. You need to develop different parts of yourself that serve different functions. There is the part of you that wants to quit, that is tired, that is scared, that is overwhelmed. We will call this the child. Then there is the part of you that is disciplined, that sees the bigger picture, that makes hard decisions. We will call this the parent. The parent must manage the child, not by ignoring the child's feelings, but by acknowledging them and then leading anyway. The child says, "I am tired. I want to stop." The parent says, "I know you are tired. I see that. But we have 2 more hours of work. 10 we rest." This is not cruelty. This is leadership. You are leading yourself. Freud talked about the ego, the ID, and the superego. 3 parts of the psyche in constant negotiation. The ID wants immediate pleasure. The superego imposes harsh rules. The ego mediates between them. You need to develop a strong ego, a self that can hear both voices and make wise decisions, not tyrannical decisions, not permissive decisions, wise decisions. The trap of bitterness. Here's the danger zone. As you build alone, as you watch other people get opportunities, did not hit us. You see mediocre people succeed because they had connections. You will feel bitterness creeping in. This is the poison that will destroy everything you have built. Bitterness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. IT does not hurt them. IT only hurts you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." They did not support you. Fine. Be so successful that their support becomes irrelevant. So excellent that their opinion does not matter. But do not let their lack of support turn you into a bitter person. Because then they won. They took your peace. They stole your joy. They made you smaller. The way to avoid bitterness is radical acceptance. You accept that people acted according to their nature. They did not support you because they could not see what you saw. They were operating from their own limitations. This is not excuse. This is explanation. An explanation allows you to move forward without carrying resentment. You have the protocol now. Morning negotiation, deep work, information diet, evening audit. You understand the psychological work required to stay healthy while building alone. In the final 5 minutes, we are going to bring this home. We are going to talk about the transition back to connection, how to build relationships from strength, how to know when you are ready, and what success actually looks like when you get there. This is the integration, the wholeness, the completion of the journey. Stay with me. The return to connection here is what nobody tells you about the journey from isolation to integration. The hardest part is not building alone. IT is learning to connect again after you have been alone. You get used to total control, total clarity, compromises, nitrogen monoxide meetings, nitrogen monoxide explaining yourself. IT becomes comfortable, safe even. And then you reach a point where to grow further, you need other people. You need collaboration. You need partnership. And that terrifies you. Because you remember what happened last time you trusted people. Last time you needed people. They were not there. They let you down. They did not believe. So why would this time be different? Carl Jung understood this struggle. He wrote, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. The key word is if. If there is any reaction, not all connections transform you. Some just drain you, some just distract you. The skill you must develop is discernment, knowing which connections are transformative and which are transactional. The readiness test. How do you know when you are ready to move from phase 2 to phase 3? From strategic visibility to selective collaboration. Here are the signs. Sign 1. You have proof. Real proof. Not potential. Not promises. Actual results that you can point to and say, I did this. Here is the evidence. Until you have this, you are not ready to collaborate. Because you have nothing to bring to the table except need. And need is not a foundation for partnership. Sign 2. You are nitrogen monoxide longer seeking validation. You do not need people to tell you that you are on the right path. You know you. Or the results tell you. Your own standards tell you. When you stop needing external approval, you can finally receive genuine feedback. Because you are not filtering everything through the question, do they like me? Sign 3. You can walk away. This is the most important one. You can walk away from any opportunity, any partnership, any relationship, if IT does not serve your mission. Machiavelli wrote, "The one who adapts his policy to the times prospers, and likewise the one whose policy clashes with the demands of the times does not." You adapt, but you do not compromise your core. And the only way to maintain that boundary is to be willing to walk away. If you need the partnership, they own you. If you choose the partnership, you own yourself. The right people. So who are the right people? How do you identify them? Robert Greene teaches that power is amoral. IT flows to those who understand its dynamics. But wisdom is moral. IT chooses where power should flow. You need both. People who understand power dynamics and people who have moral clarity. Here is the filter. Filter 1. Complementary skills. Do not partner with people who do what you do. Partner with people who do what you cannot do or do not want to do. A great builder does not need another great builder. A great builder needs a great seller. A great strategist needs a great executor. Find the yin to your yang. The skills that complete the circle. Filter 2. Proven track record. Nitrogen monoxide. More gambling on potential. You did that in phase 1 with yourself. You proved yourself. Now you only work with people who have also proved themselves. Past behavior predicts future behavior. If they've never built anything, they probably will not start now. Filter 3. Aligned values. This is non-negotiable. You can teach skills. You cannot teach integrity. You cannot teach work ethic. You cannot teach honesty. Your values are different. The partnership will eventually collapse. And IT will be ugly. Plato said, "Good people do not need laws to tell them to act responsibly, while bad people will find a way around the laws. Partner with good people. The rest will take care of itself." The transition protocol. So how do you actually make this transition? From total independence to healthy interdependence, slowly, carefully, with testing. Step 1. Small project test. Before you commit to a partnership, do a small project together. Something low stakes. Something that can be completed in a few weeks. Watch how they work. Do they deliver on time? Do they communicate clearly? Do they take ownership? Do they make excuses? This small test will tell you everything you need to know. Step 2. Gradual increase. If they pass the small test, increase the stakes slightly. Give them more responsibility. See how they handle pressure. See if they scale. Many people are great when stakes are low. They fall apart when stakes increase. Step 3. Clear agreements. If they continue to prove themselves, formalize the relationship. Put everything in writing. Roles, responsibilities, decision-making, authority, equity if relevant. This is not distrust. This is clarity. And clarity protects relationships. Hobbes wrote about the social contract. The idea that people can live together peacefully only when there are clear rules that everyone agrees to. Your partnership needs a contract, not to prepare for failure, to ensure success. Let me destroy one final myth. The myth that all great things are built alone. They are not. They never have been. Yes, the vision often starts with one person. Yes, the early work happens in isolation, but the building, the scaling, the impact that lasts, that almost always requires a team. Steve Jobs had Steve Wozniak, and Jony Ive, and Tim Cook. Elon Musk has at every company, teams of brilliant engineers, thousands of people executing the vision. Jeff Bezos started Amazon in a garage. But Amazon only became Amazon because he built an incredible team and systems. The lone genius is a myth. What is real is the founder who develops themselves to the point where they can attract and lead other talented people. That is what you are becoming. Not someone who works alone forever. Someone who built themselves alone so they could eventually build with others. Nietzsche said, "He who cannot obey himself will be commanded." You learn to command yourself. Now you can lead others, not from tyranny, from earned authority. When they come back, at some point, the people who did not support you will come back. The friends who were too busy, the family who doubted, the ex-partners who left. They will see your success. They will want to reconnect. They will try to rewrite history. I always knew you would make IT. I always believed in you. We should work together. This is the final test. How you handle this moment will define the next chapter of your life. Here's what most people do wrong. They either let everyone back in because they are desperate for connection, or they shut everyone out because they are bitter. Both are mistakes. Both come from a place of reaction instead of response. The mature path is discernment. Some relationships deserve a second chance. Some do not. Ask yourself, why are they back? If they are back because they see your value now, they are transactional. They will leave again when your value decreases. If they are back because they grew, they learned, They genuinely want to repair the relationship regardless of your success. That is different. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Do not become the person who holds grudges forever. But also do not be naive. Trust is earned. IT can be real. But it takes time, and it takes proof. The integration, wholeness. Carl Jung's entire life work was about this. Integration. Wholeness. Becoming your full self. You started fragmented. Part of you wanted support. Part of you feared rejection. Part of you felt anger. Part of you felt shame. Through this process, through building alone, through facing yourself, through proving yourself, you integrated these parts. You are nitrogen monoxide longer the person seeking approval. But you are also not the person who rejects all connection. You are whole. You contain multitudes. You can be alone without being lonely. You can connect without losing yourself. Jung said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." You chose to become someone who could build from nothing, who could face isolation without breaking, who could develop competence without external pressure. Now you choose to become someone who can collaborate without compromising, who can lead without dominating, who can give without depleting. This is the integration. This is the goal, the final truth. So here is the truth that ties everything together. The truth that makes sense of the entire journey is not the destination. IT is the foundation. You did not build yourself alone so you could stay alone. You built yourself alone so you could eventually connect from strength. So your relationships are choices, not survival mechanisms. So your collaborations are strategic, not desperate. So your life is yours, not a reaction to other people's opinions. Epictetus' side freedom is the only worthy goal in life. IT is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. You cannot control whether people support you, but you can control whether you build anyway. You cannot control whether they believe in you, but you can control whether you believe in yourself. You cannot control whether opportunities come to you, but you can control whether you create opportunities. That is freedom. That is sovereignty. That is the point of this entire journey. So where are you right now? What phase are you in? If you are in phase 1, in the foundation stage, stay the course. This is the hardest phase. This is where most people quit. But this is also where you are building everything that comes after. Do not rush IT. Do not skip steps. Do not try to network before you have something worth networking about. Build, document, improve, repeat. If you are in phase 2, stay visible but selective. Share your process. Show your work. Let the right people find you. Do not chase, attract. If you are in phase 3, choose your partners carefully. Test before you commit. Build agreements before you build together. Collaboration is leverage, but only if you choose wisely. And nitrogen monoxide, matter what phase you are in, remember this. You are not doing this because you hate people. You are doing this because you love your mission. Too much to let other people's limitations become your ceiling. You are building something that matters. Something that will outlast you. Something that will help people you will never meet. Mission is bigger than your need for validation. Bigger than your fear of being alone. Bigger than your comfort. Arthur Schopenhauer sighed, "The wise have always said the same things, and fools, who are the majority, have always done just the opposite." Be wise. Do the work. Build the foundation. Then build the empire. Not alone forever, but from strength always. If this resonated with you, If you see yourself in this journey, subscribe to Mind Path. We dive deep into the psychology of achievement every week. Nitrogen monoxide fluff, nitrogen monoxide motivation porn. Just frameworks that work. Now go, the work is waiting. And so is your future.